Good morning, everyone present and to the viewing public. We apologize for the delay. It is now 10:12 a.m. with 7 members present. We have hereby established a quorum to conduct today's meeting. For the members joining us this morning, to my left, we have Vice Speaker for PUTC, Rep. Komatsu Angelo. And to his left, we have Representative Edwin Probst. To his left, we have Representative Marissa Flores. To her left, we have Representative Diego Komatsu. To his left, we have Representative Manny Castro. And to his left, we have BJ JP Sablan. Yeah. And on the right, we have the LAs, right? And we have legal counsel. And yeah. With that being said, we are ready to conduct today's committee meeting. Can I please get a motion to adopt today's agenda? Motion has been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Today's agenda is hereby adopted. All right. Next item on the agenda, we have public comment. Does anyone in the gallery wish to give their public comment on any item on today's agenda? If so, please state your name and agency you represent for the record. So there's no public comment. Moving along the order of business, we have under old business, we have House Bill 2392 HS1 to repeal the net energy metering in the CNMI and for other purposes. So, with that, hmm? Yeah. Any discussion on old business? I recognize Representative Marissa Flores.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for calling this meeting in regard to House Bill 2392. Um, I know that last week when we had a meeting regarding this bill, many of us received comments via email, via WhatsApp, concerning the proposed bill. I would like to have this discussion addressed, and maybe if we can now, have a very concrete discussion about this, both positive and negative, so that the people watching have a better understanding. However, I also recommend that with your obviously your knowledge with CUC and utilities, that if we are to ask a question, please bear with us as we don't understand engineering lingo, but try to keep it simple and straight to the point so that the general public will have a better understanding as to why we are meeting on and discussing 2392 today. With that being said, I yield my time and I leave it for anyone else who has anything to offer for this bill. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Marissa. Anyone else? I recognize Representative Edward Probst.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Rep. Flores, for bringing that up. Yes, I'm one of probably many who've received comments and emails and WhatsApp messages about this net energy metering bill, House Bill 2392, House Substitute 1. And sorry to say, but most of it was negative and attacks and criticism and some words thrown in that I can't repeat on air. But so it was not very well received from those who took the time to submit comments. And so I simply asked for them to reach out to our chairman and to this body, and also to attend the upcoming public forum that you're going to be putting together on the date and announcement so they can provide input and comments. And then I explained what I have learned and what I know from it. But I know there's a lot that can be said, but we can also wait until the public forum, and hopefully those with concerns can come and join us. With that, I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Ed Probst. Anyone else? I recognize Representative Manny Castro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I just wanted to thank you for inviting CUC up here to give their side um, of the topic at hand or the issue at hand. Um, there were some interesting information that they brought up, um, and like mentioned earlier by Rep. Ed Probst regarding constituents calling in or giving their comments, I too have received several concerns from our constituents. One thing that was quite interesting when CUC came up is the cost accounting has not been done yet. They haven't crunched the numbers. They didn't do a study of the full impact. So the data and the numbers are not all there. And at the same time, after hearing that from them, I also took it upon myself to look at other research out there. Although it's not for the CNMI, I just wanted to share at least two. One coming from the American Council on Education for Renewable Energy. They conducted a study in 2022, a report that argues and claims that cost shifts are often based on flawed assumption and incomplete data, leading to overestimates and the cost burden on non-solar customers. Their analysis concludes that in many cases, the cost shift is not even or is non-existent. The other one from Energy and Policy Studies Institute, it's a 2020 study, examined evidence from multiple states and concluded that there is no clear evidence of a significant cost shift from solar customers to non-solar customers. They highlight factors of considering factors like the local grid conditions and policy designs when assessing cost impact. So when CUC was up here earlier, I asked if, what was the plan? Did they do an analysis? And it was all, we will do that. So the only concern I have, which I share along with constituents that have brought it to my attention, is when this law was put into place, everyone was aware of the current situation and what investments were going to happen. So there's many in the community that wanted to reduce their costs, and they made that investment, which is calculating over several years so that they can get a return or they can reduce. And when I look at within our precinct, most of these individuals are the elderly or at-risk population. So that's all the concern I have, and I yield my time for when we conduct the public outreach. And thank you again.
Thank you, Representative Manny Castro. I recognize Representative Marissa Flores.
Thank you, Chairman. And though I share his sentiment, I think really the bottom line is when the Net Metering Act of 2020 or 2014 was passed, there was an injustice at that time because in no way should the legislature be encroaching into the management of CUC. And when you're talking about promulgating rules, that is encroaching. That is their due diligence of CUC to conduct and promulgate their rule. However, that wasn't done, which goes back to what Rep. Castro was saying. And so now here we are trying to move a piece of legislation that will be beneficial to everybody. However, I must point out that when the 2014 Net Metering Act was introduced, passed, and therefore CUC had made this available, only 535 people were given this opportunity. Not in the thousands, we're only talking about 500. And from what the executive director, acting executive director claimed, some of that is government. Now, I don't know how that became fair. But if the intent of the act in 2014 was to allow this process to address marginalized individuals, the government surely is not one of them. And this committee has worked very hard in addressing certain things that make the rate fair and reasonable for government and for residential. I do believe that the intent was good at the time, but just like time, it changes. And this bill, this House bill, and your substitute does require further investigation, and it does require CUC to conduct its due diligence. We will no longer be in this process of overreaching our authority as legislators to tell agencies how to promulgate their rule. That job is for the leadership of the agency, not ours. And every time we do this, every time we come back, trying to go backwards in order to go forward. This is the 21st century. We have to start doing things correctly, addressing the problem at hand, fix it so that we can move forward, not just for us and not just for the marginalized, but for every person after us. Because I'm not sure how many more years I have left, but I will not leave this earth knowing that my children and the children and their peers are going to suffer the same types of injustices that we have been suffering over the years. For 20 some years, we've been arguing about the same thing. It's time we stop arguing, start putting our differences aside, and start working together for the benefit of the entire Commonwealth. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. I recognize Rep. Jumpo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for calling this committee meeting to address the many concerns out there with regards to House Bill 23-92 HS1. I too received several concerns from our constituent, and perhaps most of these concerns were as a result of the company Micronesian Renewable Energy sending letters to their clientels and perhaps informing them that this proposed legislation would be an impact to them. So that part of our agenda today under new business is that we're going to be scheduling a public hearing. And I just want to say for the record, for those that have concern, take advantage of this public hearing. And that goes also to the very company, Micronesian Renewable Energy. I hope to see that they come in and express their concern too. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rep. Sablan. Anybody else? I recognize Rep. Marissa Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And with that said, obviously, we've got this is actually being addressed over YouTube. So now that it's clear that this committee will conduct further public hearings on this, I'd like to offer a motion. And I move to rescind the motion the committee adopted on January 4th, 2024, committee meeting regarding the drafting of the Senate committee report for the passage of House Bill 2392 in the form of House Substitute 1. So move.
Motion has been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? I recognize Rep. Sablan.
Just so we're clear, Mr. Chairman, thank you. And this is this motion offered by Rep. Marissa Flores is for the actions made on the previous PUTC committee, which the action was to formulate this committee report so that we can report it to the full body. So just for clarity, that the motion is that we will recall that motion so that we can have that the House Bill 2392 HS1 in the committee so that we can conduct these public hearings moving forward.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rep. Sablan. Anybody else? Ready? All right. So, all those in favor to adopt the motion, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. The adoption to rescind, right, the committee report, until such time that we have conducted a further public no hearing and education, right? So there is a lot of emails going around and rumors going around, and the information that I have received as well, with the public, that it has the pictures that is being painted, and it, to me, I see it as a scare tactic. What the public failed to understand, that there is a, say, the savings clause that protects those that are currently in net metering. That was not fully disclosed, and I did answer the calls and the emails that I've received from constituents. And once I could explain it to them and read it to them, they understood what was going on, and they already know that they're not getting affected. It's been grandfathered. So, crisis averted on that part. But regardless of that, we will still go out and do further outreach and education to the public to explain the intent of this whole bill. Because ever since this renewable energy started floating around in the CNMI since 2008, when we had the rolling blackout crisis, a lot of the legislation, and the community at large were upset, to say the least, and that we need to transition to renewable energy to have a more reliable source of power, to be independent of the fuel prices that are dictated by the market, right? Can the CNMI achieve independence when it comes to energy? Not 100%. That I can tell you for a fact. Okay. We still need diesel engines that runs on diesel fuel, which is controlled by the market, not CUC and not anybody in the CNMI. With that being said, can we depend less on that type of technology? Yes, we can. Can we achieve over 75% of independence with renewable energy? Yes, we can. The policies that have been, or the legislation that has been introduced, were introduced without proper data analysis. Rate studies have not been done. Grid stability studies have not been done. So, how in the world are we passing legislation without knowledge? We were just pulling legislation left and right without not understanding the consequences of that action. And we here right now are making sure that we do collect the data, and we have done our research. Okay. But along with that, people also have to understand, where are they collecting these data? Are they biased data towards renewable, or are they biased towards fossil fuel? That is where we have to make the difference. Because everybody has an agenda. For example, anybody that sells renewable energy product and it affects their bottom line to sell their product, of course they're going to challenge, you know, the opposition, and vice versa. So we must be open-minded and knowledgeable on how to move forward with the right legislation that benefits all, not just the few. I did not run under this platform to benefit the few. No, it's to benefit all. If we're going to keep talking about fairness and justice and all that, jargon, then let's stop talking and start doing. So, with that being said, yes, we will hold off on House Bill 2392 HS1 until such time that we've conduct further, you know, education. Because this is not the my intent, is to not hurt the majority. But yet at the same time, it is not my intent to leave the minorities. There has to be a middle ground. There got to be. We cannot sacrifice one and then leave the other. If everybody wants fairness, okay, then let's talk fairness. Let's educate ourselves, make the right decision, okay, without any bias, and we shall move forward. So, with that being said, without further ado, under an old business, we have on what do you call it? Where's the agenda? On new business, we have public hearing, right? So we did reach out. Okay, so this is the other thing that people don't have to understand. We do not have money to be traveling to Rhoda and Tinian to conduct public hearing. But what we did do is we reached out to NMC to assist us in providing their venue to conduct public hearing live online to allow the people in Tinian and in Rhoda to join us so that we can have a virtual public hearing. We must be also financially responsible. That is the reason why that I requested that we do these things online. Because for every penny that we spend, that's taxpayer dollar. So as long as we hold it that way and everybody has a chance to speak and be heard and be put on record, I think that is the best way to go. We're not trying to just be responsible on every aspect of utility infrastructure and asset, but also the funding. So we asked that, I did go out and reach out to NMC to assist us in conducting public hearing virtually. I recognize Ed, Representative Ed Probst. I
Thank you,
recognize
Mr. Chairman. I
Representative
think
Mr. Flores.
for just for clarity, so it's great that you had reached out to NMC to further encourage collaboration between government agencies and educational agencies. However, how will these comments be recorded via live? What are your outputs for that? How is the How is that going to be collected, and how will that be addressed? Are we going to have a secretary? How are you going to do this?
I think everything will be recorded live.
Okay, so through the YouTube function, they're going to open up the comment section.
No, 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 no. They're once they do speak,
Uh-huh.
it will be recorded, but no comments will be coming into the comment section on YouTube.
Okay. So okay. Thank
So
you.
what
I
they
understand.
say will be recorded.
All right, thank you. I get it. Thank you. I yield.
I recognize Representative Ed Probst.
Thank you, Chairman. So, for clarity, NMC will be assisting us with the technology to do this live online through our neighbor islands of Tinian and Rhoda. But the physical location will this be held at multipurpose so more people can attend for the audience to come and join us? Or
So their IT will be collaborating with our IT, correct? So I'm not sure yet on what their decision. Should we have it at NMC campus or here or down at multipurpose? That's still those three options, right? NMC campus. Okay.
Okay, with that, is there a classroom that's big enough just so if we do have, people from our constituents and ratepayers to come and join us? I'm just wondering about the seating capacity. Is there a room at NMC that is large enough to hold that?
Right. I think that that's one of the discussions that they'll be having, correct? Is the venue. So it will be at NMC, hopefully, because they have all their equipment there, so they don't need to unplug and transfer. So it'll be more beneficial and easy to conduct there. Is the venue? I don't know where in NMC actually.
And Chairman, do we have a date in mind for when this will take place?
Well, not yet. The reason why is that we have a function that we have to attend to this all week next week. So hopefully, we will make plans on the week after. So we're gonna try to get it as soon as possible.
Thank you. I yield.
Okay. Anybody else? I recognize Rep Sablan.
Thank you, Chairman. So maybe perhaps if you are saying that the likelihood that we will be conducting this public hearings will be next 2 weeks, so maybe perhaps we can set a tentative date for next 2 weeks so that we can, because the importance of our IT staff and NMC's IT staff, we need to give them ample time to set up all this for the virtual uh, live for the people of Tinian and Rhoda. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Right. So with that being said, we're looking, at the. So next week is fully booked. Either the following week or the week after, and we want to. I was asking the president of NMC if we could do it after working hours, and that way we won't be able to, or we don't want to interfere with the working families and whatnot. So I was, very. I was asking them if they could accommodate us on that, so they don't have to take off from work, and so that they could be really involved in this discussion. And any other? I recognize Representative Diego Kamatsu.
If I may, Mr. Chair, to request CUC leadership to attend as well. Not just attend, but be able to answer questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
More so, for me, Mr. Chairman, absent the cost analysis of the net metering, they should be able to at least explain to a certain extent, what benefits there are for them and for the rest of the ratepayers.
Right.
Thank you. Ayo.
Thank you, Rep. Diego. Anyone else? I recognize Rep. Marissa Flores. No? None? All right. So, where else? So, you guys want to set a date? February 2nd? Tentative date? Okay. It has to be after working hours. So, hopefully, somewhere like 6 o'clock in the evening. Right? Yeah. Right.
Or the first, because Friday usually happy hour. It's a joke.
We'll do it Saturday. We want to do it Saturday.
Thursday or Friday, Chairman. You have your call.
Okay. But we're good at 6 o'clock in the evening, right? Yeah. Okay. So we'll have that set up and right. So anybody else? No. So next item on the agenda, we have miscellaneous. I recognize Representative Ed Probst.
Chairman, thank you. And I just want to stress to our ratepayers and our constituents who were initially upset about this that if they can just please have a little patience and understand that to do nothing means nothing changes.
Right.
And change is very difficult. It's a very difficult process. But just as difficult is trying to get information, the right information, the right data out there. I know, Chairman, you have tremendous knowledge on your belt, but also the things that you send to us on a weekly basis is quite intense. But it's really great reading. And one of the things that was really important to read was the OPA report number AR 1702 that you talked about so much. And of course we'd hear about it, but it's not the average, fun reading. So, but if you spend time and read through at least the summary and the findings is what you suggested, it's quite shocking. And it basically is a telltale sign as to how we ended up here.
Right.
And that's something that we want to ensure that we we don't try to hurt CUC through publicity stunts or anything. This is legitimate, the work that we're doing, and obviously to try to lower the rates. It's really, everybody complains that it's the fuel adjustment charge that kills everybody. You look at your usage, you're like, oh, we're good, and then you see the FAC, and yeah, it's really disturbing as to how high our rates go, no matter how we try to save. So I just want to again just ask our kind ratepayers to give us time and please attend this public forum, or if you can't be there, at least tune in and listen in as to the reasons for this. It's certainly no benefit to any of us. I mean, we're not, at least as far as I know, we're not shareholders in any company or anything, and this is strictly doing our best to try to bring the rates down. So with that said, Chairman, thank you for your leadership. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Head Pros. Anybody else? No, I recognize myself. So this, you know, I've been watching. I've been gone, from our island for so long, but just because I left didn't mean that I was not in touch. I still kept, tabs on what was going on the island. And like I said, for over 2 decades that I've been gone, we're still suffering the same thing. The same thing. When is it going to stop? Now, the utilities, as much as we hate it or despise the way it charges us, it's not free. But in order to fix this, we have to tread carefully and we have to do our due diligence. And like you said, Rep. Probes, we're not here to benefit ourselves. It's to benefit the whole public. And it's not just Saipan, but it's all the CNMI, the whole entire CNMI. What we do here in PUTC committee will affect every household, every business, every government agency. And all we're trying to do is to give everybody a fair playing chance. We're trying to level the playing field. But in order to do that, we have to do, like I said, be very careful with the types of research papers that are being distributed to the public, because some of those papers are self-serving. When you do your research that will impact the livelihood of everyone, be very careful with what you're saying and be very mindful of what we're doing. We're taking this one step at a time, very slowly, and it will hurt someone, but the majority will not be left behind, and neither would the minority. It will hurt, but eventually we will find a cure. We're not trying to implement a medication that is far worse than the disease. So we're being very methodical and being very open, and mindful. Thank you. So with that being said, next item, can I? Okay. All right, next item on can I get a motion for adjournment? Second, I recognize the vice speaker. Or Chair. Vice Chair. No, adjourn already. Yeah. So, you all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. This meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you.